I would. I know a lot of people are worried about, what's going to happen, and um, what do that mean for their children. Um, but I want people to understand or ask themselves this question: What have the department on the federal level? And this is just a simple question. And I will answer you all's question or try to pop some questions in here and there. What have the Department of Education done on the federal level? The federal level. What have it or has it done for you and or your children? All right. And the reason why I asked that question is because your boy Great Vibes, I did a little research. And according to the Department of EDU, now before I read out these numbers, I will say, y'all, these numbers are sad. When it comes to and this is on the state level, I looked up the public school rankings by state from last year. Okay. So this is going from 2023 into 2024. So here is level. On the state level, you got Arizona, which is number one. You have Louisiana, which is number two. Nevada, which is number three. New Mexico, then Alabama. Okay, cool. Then you got Alabama. You got South Carolina. You have Oklahoma, North Carolina, Florida, and then Tennessee. Those are the top 10 according to the website. Top 10 performing school system when it comes to the public. Now, with that being said, do anybody that's watching, God damn, they got me in the shadows. I just looked at my damn numbers on TikTok, y'all. They got me in the shadows bad. Y'all do me a favor. Everybody do me a favor. This is sad. Y'all, please tap the screen, share the live out. Please share this live out because this information I'm going to give you all, a lot of people needs to hear this because a lot of people are confused on why Donald Trump. Yeah, I got some lag here. Why Donald Trump is they're gutting the Department of Education on the federal level. Okay? Now I'm going to say this here. Look like TikTok froze. God damn it. Hold on one second. Hold on, y'all. Oh my goodness. Hold on, y'all. Hold on one second. Let me get rid of this and let me get rid of this. Everybody, y'all hold on one second. Let me restart this on TikTok. I got to restart because it froze up on my end. It really froze up on my end. Everybody on YouTube, thank y'all so much for coming in. We just now getting started. For some odd reason, TikTok completely froze up on me. So y'all just come in, sit back and relax because I have a lot of information to push out. Okay, there it is. All right, we should be good now. Okay, here it is. We should be good. All right. Yeah, we should be good. What's funny is, for some odd reason, when it comes to my cable provider, I reached out to them today, and hopefully they send a technician out here to see exactly what's going on with my cable. All right. He said it was running smoothly, and Kimmy said it was freezing. Now, y'all, TikTok, I had to restart because it was like it was freezing up bad. So the numbers dropped down from 400 people in the room all the way down to under 100. So let me get this right here cleared up. YouTube, I really do apologize for. On YouTube, can y'all see me fine? Can y'all see me fine? Am I freezing up? Um, what do it look like? If it looks good, y'all give me a one in the comments. Over on YouTube, put a one in the comments if y'all can see me just fine. All right. I need y'all feedback too. All right. All right. So everybody, thank y'all so much for coming back in. I had to restart. Crick, thank you so much. Dark Phoenix, long time no see, brother. How you doing? Y'all good over here? Okay, cool. And once again, y'all, I'm gonna try my best to start back going live twice a day. I be seeing y'all messages, and I know that y'all want me to go back live twice a day, but that takes a lot, right? It takes a lot to go live twice a day. Not only on top, being at work and then take care of my family. I try to squeeze in what I can, to give you all. But this right here is very important to talk about. So everybody, just share the live out, help your boy out. It's saying that my camera is obstructed. It's not obstructed. What the hell are you talking about? It's not obstructed. What are you talking? Hold on, y'all. Because TikTok is really, really. But everybody, O3 Jones, thank you so much for putting that in the comments. All right, so let's talk about it. We know now Donald Trump is in the process of where him and his team, they are in a process of finalizing plans to gut the Department of Education. Now, I bet you this right here. I bet you a lot of people don't even know when or how the Department of Education was even started. I need y'all, if anybody know who started the Department of Education, put it in the comments right now. If you know who started the Department of Education, put it in the chat right now. I'm gonna see how much you all know, because I know a lot of people are getting in their feelings about the whole Department of Education. We're going to deal with immigration a little later. But do anybody know who started the Department of Education? Carter? I wanna hold on. I want to make sure I got the right information. Okay, I got it. Do anybody know? Let me see what y'all put in. Andrew Johnson. Okay, 8 Minded. You got one. Okay, Mary, you got it. It was Rockefeller and who else? It was one more person that started the Department of Education. But remember, at the time, it wasn't called the Department of Education. Shannon, how you doing? I just want to see how much we know before we start to get in our feelings on why they're starting to dismantle the Department of Education on a federal level. No, it's not Andrew Jackson, and it's not J.P. Morgan. So we know that Rockefeller, right? The Rockefellers, and it was one more person. I'm gonna give y'all a hint. One of them was unalive last year in a house fire. In a house fire. That should kind of give y'all some type of clue. One of their family members was unalived in a house fire out there in Los Angeles, California last year, the end of last year. All right, I got you, Dark Phoenix. Nah, it's all right. A lot of people can't subscribe. Like my subscriber count went down from 88, now we're down to 34, and it's because they're not allowing people to subscribe. All right, let me help y'all out. So it was the Rockefellers and the Rothschild. Put a one in the comments if y'all knew that. YouTube, put a one in the comments if y'all knew that. All right. Okay, cool. All right. Now, so once again, it's all about understanding what's going on here and why Donald Trump and his team they are going after the Department of Education, right? We got to know this first. Now, we're going to talk about that because remember at the time it wasn't called the Department of Education, it was called the General Education Board or short GEB. Now, why? Do anybody know why they was they initiated the Department of Education, what you all know, or the GEB, which was called the General Education Board? Do anybody know why that was put forward? Do anybody know why they put that? They initiated the Rothschild and the Rockefellers was put this particular system into play. Anybody to set goals for education? Uh Silky Slim said to create a marketer, not thinkers, to set goals for education. The middle part you got right. Queen said civil rights. Or control. Control is one. Scottish said to control. There y'all go. Why is hold on one second. Why is YouTube? Hold on one second. YouTube, hold on one second. Okay, there y'all go. Y'all, sorry about that. We froze up on YouTube. Now, do anybody know what happened in the late 17th century and the early 18th century when it comes to education? When it comes to the public education, do anybody know what happened here in the West? Because y'all, this stuff is very deep. Okay. Well, let me say this right here. Let me help y'all out. So somebody put in the comments, right? If y'all notice our system, especially our public school system, is set up to where they don't want. Do our public school system educate you on how to be an entrepreneur? Do our education system teach you how to close on a mortgage? Or even forget a mortgage, because a mortgage, that's still slavery if you do the math. But have they ever taught y'all on how to be financially intelligent to where you can control your own finances, no one else's? What if I was to tell you over half your billionaires don't even have a high school diploma? Your smartest people are some of them are some of the most not educated, but you would see that they would think a lot, right? Let's use Elon Musk for an example. We all know that Elon Musk, he's not from here. What, his family is from South Africa? Or was he born in South Africa and his family was from, it's one of them. Either he was born in South Africa or his family was from South Africa. Something like that. But Elon Musk is not from here. And I try my best to look up his education, and I haven't found any. Right? Now, let's do this. You say he's South African. Okay, appreciate that. I knew it was one of them. Now, let me say this right here. I know a lot of people are pissed off that Elon Musk is going around and Donald Trump has introduced him to the financial side of our government to see what's going on in the U.S. Department of Treasury. Hell, I'm going to share y'all some information that went down on yesterday. Before we get to that, we know that the Rockefeller and the Rothschild, they started the what we know as today as the Department of Education. But back then it was called the GEB, which is the General Education Board. Their job was to create workers, not thinkers. Because you got to remember back in the 17th century and the 18th century, right? When it comes to population control, a lot of people said that, we don't like Donald Trump because he was talking about the abortion and all this stuff. He initiated women not having their rights. Y'all know how he talked, right? Women not having their rights, abortion, Roe versus Wade. Y'all remember that? And I had to educate a lot of y'all crazy selves, say, hey, Roe versus Wade didn't have nothing to do with especially blacks in general. If you look at about 16 certain states, their population almost became at a halt. So they had to try to initiate that so the birth right can start overturning, because a certain population was not increasing. And I'm talking about the white population. Now, I'm going to tell y'all right now, this is not a white or black thing. If you are here to listen and to be educated, and even if I'm wrong on a few things, y'all, please correct me in the chat or request to come up. But I can say about 80% of what I'm about to tell you, I did some deep diving on this. So remember, this is not a black and white thing. It is what it is. If you're not grown enough to have this conversation, you're not grown enough to be here. All right? Now, the white population slowed all the way down in 16 different states. Well, Great Vibes, how can you say that? Before we talk about Roe versus Wade, let's push this back to the 18th century. Hell, let's go back to the 17th century. Did y'all know between, I think it was 1780 something? Can somebody please look that up? Between 1780 something and 1880 something. It was something like that, or 1870 something. Did y'all know the United States had you could not, abortion was completely out of the picture? It was against the law to abort your child. Did y'all know that? So before people were starting to say, what Trump was doing or all, no, do your research. And the reason why they did that is because you got to remember they needed the repopulation of the slaves. They needed more slaves, and also not the, excuse my French, not the nigger that was on the plantation and in outside on the farms and in the outhouses. You had they had what you call the low nigger and the top nigger. The top nigger stayed in the house with the slave masters. The low niggas was out there and had control of his people, his family, and what was going on out there in the plantation. Right? Now, with that being said, population was starting to slow down. Right? Too many parents did not want to bring their children into this type of, control. So they was aborting their babies. They was getting rid of them. So that's when they put that against the law, so where you cannot abort your child anymore. You cannot do that for 100 years. Because they needed that population back for control. Let's fast forward. Roe versus Wade. Now we understand now. They didn't have nothing to do with no damn woman's rights. And y'all took to social media in your fucking feelings. Tara, how you doing? Tara Daniels, how you doing? Y'all took to social media and got in your fucking feelings. Didn't know what the hell you was talking about. Now, the Department of Education, let's back this up. Do y'all remember the Obama administration? Do y'all remember the Obama administration? Any Democrats that's watching right now, I'm going to ask y'all one question. Let me go ahead and grab me some water. Question finna be set up. What have the Obama administration done for the U.S. that was beneficial towards you and or your children? Put it in the comments. Let me grab some water. What we got in the comments? Somebody put Obamacare in school lunch. Talisha put nothing. Let's go. I really want to see where y'all at. Obamacare in school lunch. So let me ask y'all this. To receive Obamacare, what tax bracket you had to be in? I really want to see where y'all minds are at. Mitch. Shannon, David, Tiffany. Do y'all see what's going on here? Tara said on YouTube said, seems like when Obama and Biden were in, I received more help like Medicaid. So everybody on YouTube, on TikTok, I asked what tax bracket you have to be in to receive the Obamacare. And mostly about 90% of the people in the chat are saying you have to be in the lower tax bracket. So that means if you have to be in the lower tax bracket, meaning that you are living in what we call poverty. Do that sound like control to you all? For me to help you, you got to be poor. So I got to control your spending. I got to control how you think, and I got to control how you move before I help you. Are we seeing how they work now? And I'm not talking about people that have special needs or people that's handicapped or to that nature. No. I'm talking about the average working citizen. West Virginia and Mississippi are the poorest states. Okay? That's what Tara said on YouTube. Now, y'all walk with me on this. I really need y'all to walk with me. Because all this has to do with the Department of Education. We already talked about what happened in the late 18th century and the late 17th century and the late 18th century, right? They needed more. This is what we call Black History Month. Take it how you want to take it. They needed more niggers created. Population control. On top of, we got to control you. Now, the reason why I brought Obama up is because a lot of people voted for Obama. Number one is because of his skin tone. It's sad how a lot of people of color ran around saying that I'm going to vote for Obama because he was going to be the first black male president. And this man is not black. Two is, a lot of people didn't even hear about Obama until he started running for president. Didn't know his history, didn't even know his background. Now y'all listen to this right here. Who ran with him? You got Joe Biden, which Obama said, you're going to run with me. Do anybody know Joe Biden's resume? And let's push this all the way back to the 1970s. Do anybody know Joe Biden's resume? You asking me how can I say that word, Scottish Paul? You talking about nigger? I'm going to say this again. If you cannot handle this conversation, this grown adult conversation, and what I'm saying is triggering you, do not be on this platform. Go somewhere where people are going to tell you what you want to hear versus what you need to hear. Now, I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say nigger again. I mean, we really want to go down that road. I mean, I got the time today. We can go down that road. Do I need to start talking about what happened before Jim Crow? Do we really want to go that route? No, not today. Erica said, well, my grandmother worked with Obama and he ran for Senate. Now, I need y'all to do me a favor. When y'all get a chance, I need y'all to research between 19 matter of fact, let's push it to the 80s. Between 1983 all the way down to about maybe like 1995. What if I was to tell you all that uh President Biden was responsible for not only so many black men and black women getting locked up, but also unaliving. And a lot of laws were getting put into place in certain states because of him. If you notice back in the 70s and the 80s and also the 90s, Biden didn't even want people of color around him. Did y'all know this? Oh, no, let's continue. Did you know your President Obama, he was responsible for his 8 years in office between 2008 and 2016? Did y'all know that he was responsible for the most attacks on people of color in foreign countries? Did y'all know that? And we ain't even gonna talk about here in the States. Oh, this is going to tie in with the Department of Education. Did y'all know that? But guess what? This is what people y'all voted for, because why? A lot of y'all was Democrats. Now, a lot of y'all grew up Democratic. Y'all vote Democratic because your parents said do it and your parents did it. But don't nobody overstand the Democratic Party. Now, I asked a question. To receive Obamacare, what certain tax bracket you have to be in? And mostly everybody put in the comments the lowest tax bracket, right? You have to be living in poverty to receive government assistance. This is why I said what I said back in the 60s during y'all remember the women's rights movement, the march, right? Y'all remember that? Which wasn't for people of color, right? It was for white people. This is what it is. Now, if y'all cannot take this grown conversation, it's time to go. Because I'm finna step on a lot of toes today. When the economy changes, the family dynamic. When the economy changes, the family dynamics changes. Department of Education. When the economy changes, the family dynamics changes. Let's dig into that one. So y'all remember when women could not vote and or they wouldn't allow women to be in the workforce, and a lot of people took to their head that women were oppressed and depressed and they was being abused and unalived by their husbands because they were stay-at-home wives and they was being submissive, and the list goes on. Oh, the feminist movement did a number, right? Right? This is going to tie all in with the Department of Education. Walk with your boy, great vibes. What happened when women went into the workforce? I think it was 1964, 1967 when that happened. Do anybody know what happened when women went into the workforce? Tiffany said welfare. Divorces went up. Families started to break apart. Okay. Um, that's when West Virginia went red and Democrats were forever insane. I want y'all to listen to this right here. Take notes, okay? During the feminist movement, of course, it opened up a lot of doors for women, right? You can vote, you can work. Well, actually, that whole agenda started. I think it was 1894 by a certain individual, right? It was a white woman, and they kind of teamed up in 1907, and because their husbands was overseas fighting in the wars, and the husbands was unalived, and they had no ways to take care of the family, right? Because the government would not tell them what happened to their deceased husbands, right? Their husband just never showed up to the house. So of course, on and on, they pushed and fought, and that was one of the reasons why they allowed women to vote and also work. But let me tell you something: what the black household did. The black household took this information and said, "Oh, they talking about us too." So our sisters ran with this. Black History Month, right? Department of Education. Now, y'all, for the last 3 months, I could not wait to talk about this. If you get in your feelings, that's fine. It's freedom of speech. Moderators, don't block nobody. Don't block nobody. I want people to have the freedom of speech over here. But if you come disruptive or you come, just all out rude, sir, just don't do that. All right. Just have a listening mind, right? Just listen for a moment. The 1960s. This is why I say the baby boomers did a number on the black community. Miss Regina, good to see you. Good to see you, Miss Regina. The baby boomers set even what we're dealing with right now up for failure. But it goes deeper than that. But let's talk about what's on the surface. We know that the Rothschild and the Rockefellers, and then you had it was John Rockefeller and the Rothschild. They the one that started the Department of Education, or the General Education Board, and it was help funded by what's this guy name? Frederick Taylor Gates. Frederick Taylor Gates. Y'all write that down. And also the Rockefeller and the Rothschild, they the one that started the Department of Education, or the General Education Board, all right? And it wasn't to make people smart or make people bright and make people just go out and just, hey, we're going to make sure you are set up for success. The Department of Education was set up for you to be a follower and not a leader. The General Education Board, as we know today as the Department of Education, it was set up for you to be a worker, not a owner. When the economy changes, the family dynamics changes. Before Jim Crow, we had a divorce rate less than 3%. That's just in the black community, right? Before Jim Crow, we had a divorce rate less than 3%, meaning we had a household that's man, woman, and children over 95%. And these households were stable. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? The mother was at home educating her children, while the father went out there to do what was needed for the household, to make sure that his household was stable. But y'all women today took it as that these women was being walked all over. When the economy changes, the family dynamic changes. Let's fast forward now. When the feminist movement took along itself, right, and we see what happened. Did y'all also know that the marriage license was also rolled out during this time? Also, invented during this time. Did y'all know that? The actual contract, right, the one that you sign when you get married, and they send it off to the state. Did y'all know that? Before the 1960s, it wasn't no such thing as a marriage license. It's what you call common law marriage, right? You like me, I like you. Let's make it work. Let's have children and let's create a freaking household, a marriage. The government, listen to me, the government was not involved. Department of Education. I really hope y'all writing this stuff down. So guess what? Now that, because y'all got to remember, our government, they think 300-500 years down the road. They don't think about what's going to happen tomorrow. They don't think about what's going to happen in the next 100 years. They're thinking about 500 years down the road. All right? This is how it was so easy for them to come over here and conquer this territory. Right? When last time y'all checked the government website? Where's the United States original flag? That was just changed over the last few weeks. Now, let's continue. 1960s, right? Feminist movement, marriage contracts, and what was initiated in the early 70s. Listen, y'all, it's going to go with the Department of Education. What happened in the early 70s? Do anybody know? I even took my damn shoes off. Because y'all about to get educated today. I'm going to show y'all why they are getting rid of the Department of Education on the federal level. What happened in the early 1970s? Do anybody know? 1979, 1980, Department of Education. No, that's not it. Title 4D. Infinite, you close, but no, it's not Title 4D. We're going to get into that in a second. Buzz and Schools Board, no. FEMA has. Okay. All right. Watch this right here. In the early 1970s, did y'all know that's when the Child Support Act was initiated? Why was that? When the economy changes, the family dynamics changes. You didn't hear no fucking child support before the 1970s. Y'all remember those songs started coming out in the late 1990s? This where this whole baby mama, baby daddy stuff come from. It's my baby daddy. You know, child support. A joke. It's my baby daddy. Y'all remember that? It was starting to program y'all minds. Now, let's back it back up to the 70s. Who remember that song, That's Just My Baby Daddy? Tara said on YouTube, she said Rockefellers were in politics in West Virginia as a senator. Y'all remember that? Okay. Now, let's stay right here in the 70s. You guys, child support was initiated. You got back in the 1960s. This is when you got the marriage license was initiated. All of this is done for a reason. Now watch how the Department of Education falls into this right here. Their job, before Jim Crow, you had the family structure that was very strong. That's on both sides. That's black and white, right? The family structure was very strong. And a lot of y'all dumbasses said that these women, it was always the women was being oppressed. No, the fuck they won't. This was some of the simplest and happiest times when it comes to the family coalition, because they understood what it took to keep a family together, to raise their children the proper way without being involved in the public school system or the General Education Board that was started by the Rothschild and the Rockefellers. The government said, no, we need to create a generation to where we need more workers than thinkers. The only way we're going to do that is we have to dismantle the household. We got to get the father out. We got to go for the head. This is why, like an animal kingdom, right? Let's use the lion. Let's use the lions for an example. The only way you're going to take over their pride is you got to take their male, that king, that male lion out. And when you take them out, guess what the lioness is going to do? They're going to fall into order. But you got to take that king out. So in the 1970s, that's what happened. That was the plan. We got to remove the father out of the household. That's both blacks and whites. We got to get them out. When the economy changes, the family dynamics changes. So on the economy side, we just gave women the right to work, the right to vote, right? All this stuff that was written about women. So now women took that and said, you know what? I don't need no man. I got the same right as you. We are equals. I don't need you. I can work just like you. When the economy changes, the family dynamics changes. I don't need no man. I can go to work. So now these families that work together, now the government wants some of this. Okay, cool. Watch this right here. The board, the Department of Education. Okay, cool. So now we got to where women can work. The man is working. Y'all listen to me. The women are working. The men are working. Where do they leave the child? Or the children? They got to go to school. The mother is no longer teaching her child. Go to school. I can get all into the birth certificates and all that stuff as far as y'all signing y'all children over to the state. But y'all got to remember, everything that you own has a number. Your driver's license, your social security card, your birth certificate, everything you have has a number on it for a reason. When the economy changes, the family dynamics changes. Department of Education. So now you're pulling the children out of the home, right? Because the best way to program somebody is start them off as a child. Pull them out of this home away from the mother. The father's already not in the house because he's working too. So we're going to put in the public school system. Y'all teach them the way I need y'all to teach them, right? Go ahead and start programming my child the way you need them to be a product for society. That's what y'all saying indirectly. Make sure you bring them A's and B's home. Make sure you make an E in conduct now. I don't want to hear nothing from your teacher that you was cutting up in class. Y'all remember all this stuff, including myself. I am guilty of this, okay? When you know better, you do better. I am guilty of this. All right. So the father was already working. You removed the mother out of the home because of the feminist movement, right? I can work now. We are equals. This is what the mindset that's going on. You pull the mother out. Now you got the child. You dump them off in the school system up under the Department of Education, right? On the state level, not the federal level. It gets worse. The minute that happened in the late 70s and early 80s, and even throughout the 80s, did y'all know that the divorce rate started climbing at a 58% rate? The only way so do y'all remember during the, y'all remember, okay, slavery. Y'all remember, okay, during lynching, right? The only way that the government was able to control the man is that they had to get through the woman. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to, your wife, this is what we're going to do to your wife. Y'all see what I'm doing, right? From a tree. Because you want the best for your family, you keep doing this, you keep going against what we're saying, guess what we're going to do? We're going to make an example out of your wife. We're going to put her right here on this tree. Oh, she's pregnant too? That's going to be even better. We're going to put her right here on this. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And we're going to take this. Remember, it's all about controlling you and your children. Department of Education, y'all. I hope y'all walking along with me. Now, I didn't say the Department of Education had anything to do with this. I'm talking about the mental programming. So this what we doing? Hang her over there. And while she was pregnant, did y'all know that they would get out and get these machetes? And a baby will fall out on the ground while he's sitting there watching his wife be unalive. All about control, right? So indoctrination started a long, long time ago. Because they was falling in line with the government guidelines. Can we go down that rabbit hole? Yes, but not today. So the 1980s, you know what? They're doing it a different way. This is what you call modern day slavery. And I ain't even got to the jail systems yet. Department of Education. I ain't even got to the jail systems yet on what Joe Biden helped initiate. Oh. Okay, cool. So now we're in the 1980s, and we are seeing the destruction of the communities, right? More women are being pregnant with no father in the home. The government said, you know what? I got you. Now that you are working, your child is in school now with us. So now we already start programming your child. Don't worry about it. We know that you are pregnant. And a lot of jobs, they tell you, hey, take a step back. So now that you got to take off work, we got your back. Food stamps. Public housing. No, y'all didn't hear what you didn't hear about none of this. Man, listen. Food stamps before the 1960s, no, that was unheard of. I got you. We don't need you to go back to that man. They ain't telling y'all this, but they telling y'all this. Do y'all remember when the social workers used to come to the house? And could no man be inside that house for you to continue to get benefits? Do y'all remember that? I hope that I'm helping somebody out. Do y'all remember this? The 80s and 90s, if you was on government assistance, this way before the EBT card. This is when everything was given stamps, right? Getting that stamp, that cash flow, that stamp flow, because they gave you a certain amount of stamps. Yeah, it was all stamps. It wasn't no debit then. It was all stamps, right? That book of stamps. But the only way you can receive that money is to where the government came into your house, and they just will pop up. Could no man be inside their house? Because we need to control you, and we need to control your children. Miss Regina says she remember. Now, in 1996, the divorce rate went up to I think it was 88%. Let's fast forward to 2024. Not today. Let me talk to the black community real quick. If you was going to any black community, any of them, I don't give a damn where you at in the United States of America. Go into any black community, you're going to see single homes, mothers and children. No fathers, no husbands inside the house. And right now, one out of every 5 women are getting married. So the government has did a successful job on controlling the mindset, taking our women from us and also taking our children from us. So watch this right here. Let's back it up to the early 2000s. It's my baby daddy, you know, child support. Anything no good. Nothing but a joke. Y'all didn't know that this shit was programming y'all ass. Do y'all remember? Oh, shit. So it got so bad to where, leave. I'm going to do nothing but put you on child support. Now it's always child support. Even until today. Child support. Child support. Child support. Child support. Child support. Did y'all know child support was illegal? Different story, different day. If you're a man, you're a woman, you're on child support, did y'all know that's illegal? Huh. Okay, cool. So now what we're dealing with now is the separation of the household, because we allowed our parents, our grandparents allowed this to happen. The baby boomers allowed this to happen. For the government to come infiltrate our homes, take the mothers out, leave the fathers out, and put our children in the Department of Education, school system. So not only you created separation in the homes, now also you breed and help teaching followers, workers. Our households now, and once again, y'all, we all grown. Our household went from um, being very productive, not only in the household but also to society. To where now and when I say everyone, I'm talking about the majority. Everyone is dependent on the government. Not all. Everyone meaning over 51%. So I'm gonna just say the majority, right? Because the majority makes the rule. Now you're dependent on the government, not only for your finances, for your healthcare system, Remember earlier I asked about Obama. What have he done for the community? And y'all said Obamacare. And I asked you all what tax bracket you had been in to get Obamacare or any type of assistance from the government. Y'all said low, of course. So not only we got to keep your mind, your standards low to receive help from us, but also we got to make sure your family is broken too. While we do this, it's all a hidden agenda. And guess what? We fail for it. And we are paying the price for it. Did y'all know here in America, North America, okay? Did y'all know only 1 out of 8 children can read on the 3rd grade level? First, it was 100%. That's why I keep bringing up Jim Crow. It was 100%. Let's go to math. It get worse with math. Let me read this to you all. Listen to this, y'all. This Elevate. I'm using elevatek12.org. Okay. Oh, okay. So anybody that's familiar with that website, it's a credible website. American children are struggling. Reading and math scores are at their lowest in decades. I literally just said that. While mental illness, absenteeism, and bullying are on the rise, school teachers say they are battling to reach students. When the economy changes, the family dynamics changes. Also, the family structure changes. The reason why teachers are battling to reach their students because the fathers are gone out of the homes. While facing their own problems of understanding, low salaries, and scarce resources. And this is the teachers speaking. Teachers now know that it's more dangerous to teach in a school now some more than were, 15 years ago. Most teachers go to school, don't know they're even going to make it home. Because how many school pews we've been having over the past decade? Because we got kids now that's in their feelings and they don't know how to construct those feelings. And guess what? Everything is off how you feel. I feel. This is why a lot of our, especially the black men, our young black men, are freaking locked up. Because they don't understand conflict resolution. If there's a conflict, we're going to deal with it by taking somebody's life. Because we don't know how to sit down as men and talk about it. This is why our young ladies are fighting and having mental issues and having breakdowns and are on medication. Because the fathers are gone. You took the father out and you introduced the government, including the Department of Education. If y'all want me to keep going, put a 1 in the chat. YouTube, if y'all want me to keep going, because I got a lot to say. If y'all want to keep going, put a 1 in the chat. I got a lot to say. Some shit I've been wanting to get off my motherfucking chest for a long time. Miss Regina on YouTube, she said, I never got child support and never gave the end of my money. Y'all said keep going. All right, if y'all want me to keep going, right now we've been live now for almost an hour and I'm sitting at 12,000 likes. What the hell is going on here? What we doing? What hello? Hello, this your boy Great Vibes on 10. Why the hell we still sitting at 12,000 likes? Well, what are we doing here? I need y'all to push me up to 30,000. I need y'all. Am I close to the mic? Mm-hmm. Timeline said 2. Okay, that's like 1 out of like 99% that want me to keep going. So I need y'all to tap the screen. Can we get me up to? I need y'all to get me up, y'all. Get me up. All right, get me up. Tap the screen. All right. All right, we got those likes up. Cool. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. All right. Melissa asked, she said, where are you from? I'm from West Virginia. You've been spot on with everything that I have learned from here. And once again, thank you so much, Melissa. Listen, my job is not to what I'm not doing is if you're feeling some type of way about these facts, if you're feeling some type of way about these facts and it's hitting home for you, don't get upset. Okay? Let's not do that. Let's just take notes and keep it moving. That's what adults do. So now, I ask you all as far as do our educational school system create followers? Do they create leaders? Right? We establish that they create followers. All right? They create followers. Bulldog, I see you. Just give me one more second. They create followers and not leaders. This is why, once again, our jails are filled with young black boys between the ages of 14 all the way up to 27. This is why our prison systems, the female prison systems, are filled up with young girls and young ladies between the ages of 14 to 27. Because they did a great job with removing the father out of the home. And I'm not saying all of them. I want y'all to hear me out. I speak of the majority. And you introduce the government inside of your home to where now you have no control over your children. And look at what your children dealing with now. Can I say how many children have been on depression pills and medication and in these psych wards, and they're dealing with all types of mental issues? Do we need to go down that rabbit hole? When last time you spoke to your child? Because we allowed the government to get inside of our homes. We introduced the government inside our homes. They didn't do it. We did. Also, according to this site, most people attribute the crisis in the current American education system, and they comparing it to worse than the pandemic. That's when some of the biggest problems became visible. No shit. Fewer students were able to attend school and attainment dropped. I can't tell y'all how many schools in my city alone shut down because of school dropouts. They are combining schools now. They are combining high schools. They are combining middle schools. I'm talking about like taking 4 different high schools and making one high school. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? They are taking like 4 different elementary schools and making it one elementary school. How is the education system helping our children? If our average child cannot read or write. Now, can we go down the rabbit hole? It's not our language. English is not our native language. We know that. That's why I can barely see. Y'all hear my grammar? That's why my grammar's so fucked up the way it is. I'm like, Grave Eyes, what you say? Can you say, I can't even say specific. I can't even say that shit. What the hell you need the S for? Like knife. What you need the K? Why is the K in knife? Don't it supposed to be knife? Can I give you one more? Why in the hell we need a P in phone? Why we need a P in phone, okay? When you know better, you do better. All right. So, y'all listen to this. Hold on one second, y'all. Hold on. All right. Y'all, I forgot I had the oven on. So don't want the house burned down. All right. Now, let's continue, y'all. Because actually, I'm actually being PG right now, right? The information that I'm giving you all, I'm trying to be PG. So watch this right here. Wow, American schools have high students to teacher ratios driven by a massive K-12 teacher shortage, faced with disciplinary problems. What happened? What did I say? What happened in the 1960s? Okay, it's not going to lie. Disciplinary. You take the father out of the home, discipline is gone. And low school funding, schools have focused on staffing classrooms at all costs. This means larger class sizes and teaching quality problems. So now it flipped from so y'all remember they used to have capital punishment in the schools? And now you got, especially, take it how you want to take it, especially the female parents say, well, listen, ain't nobody gonna touch my child. Ain't nobody got to tell, well, hell, you ain't doing nothing. The father is gone, and I'm talking about the majority. Don't get in your feelings. You don't already do what's needed at the house. The father's not inside the house. You're working. If you're not, boy, don't get me started. Well, you know, we don't want to have that conversation. We do not want to have that conversation. So now, due to the fact that the majority of our households are led by women, and some you have unfortunate decisions, right? To where, yes, it was abuse in the home. Yes, maybe he have got locked up. You know, I'm not talking about those situations, right? Because you do have mothers, you do have parents that are trying their best and their hardest to make sure that their house is functioning. I'm not talking about by the week. I'm talking about by the day. They're taking it day by day by day. And you do have women that's trying. But I'm sorry, women, it's the majority that makes the rule. And I'm talking about blacks and whites. And I'm speaking on these numbers because, of course, the population here in the West. So when I told y'all about what happened in the 1960s and what happened in the 1970s, remember, they are playing the long game. The only way we're going to capture the minds of people and get them to bow to our needs to where we got to separate the householder. And they fucking did that. and we let them. And now we want to sit back and complain while uh, we want to sit back and complain all this bullshit that's going on with the economy. What the fuck? You contributed to the damn economy fuck up. You attributed to the house fuck up. You attributed to the family coalition. So thank you, baby boomers. Thank you, Gen X. Thank you, millennials. It was all of us that played part in this. And it's doing nothing but getting worse. Why? It's because our mindset. And we call ourselves adults. Most of us call ourselves Christians. Most of us call ourselves Muslims, right? How the fuck you call yourself something into where look at your household? Stand back. Y'all stand back and look at your household. And I'm talking about me too. I'm not excluded from this. Look at your household. Your household should pretty much tell your life story. It used to be a time in life to where when people walk out and when men walk out in public with their woman, their girlfriends and their wives and their children, they used to take pride in that. Hey, I want you to introduce you to Miss Tanya, Mrs. Tanya, and these are my children, or these are our children. We used to take pride in that. Now that conversation has flipped now to where this is what I had to do on my own. I had to work on my own. I got to pay the bills. I got to do this. I got to do that. Because you allowed it. Now teachers don't even want to deal with your damn badass kids. It was a time where children used to go to school either out in the fields or it was a privately owned school, whatever. In a community, they was there on time, 7:00 in the morning. They was at their wooden desk, ready to learn from the teacher. And they kept their mouth shut. And you answer when you being addressed. Now these teachers can't even teach class because the students that we raise want to take over fucking class. They want to be badasses. They always try to make a statement. Why? It's because they're responding from their feelings. And we allowed that. Y'all thought y'all weren't going to see this side of Great Vibes. Because all this is tying into the Department of Education, y'all. And I ain't even got to the federal level yet. I'm just talking down at the state level. Because remember, even though the Trump administration, they are getting rid of the Department of Education on the federal level, not on the state level. Because they're going to allow the state to implement their own rules and their laws and whatever they need to do to make sure that their children are educated, even if the system have to go private or being state controlled. They're turning over. Say, now y'all deal with on the state. We're out of it on the federal. We don't want to deal with this shit anymore. Do I need to pull up the numbers per city and look at how fucked up our schools are? Because these are the children that's going to run our future. And right now, it's not looking good at all. Why? It's because they learning how to follow. They learning how to submit to the government. As long as I keep your mind in confusion, do y'all hear me? As long as I keep your mind in confusion, none of y'all can allow God to work inside this confusion. So until then, you're going to allow the government to come in and tell you what to do. This is why now, no matter where you go, everybody is walking around with this cell phone in their hand. You don't know how to go out there and think for yourself, or start up a plan even for today. You buried in your phone. So what our children are doing, they are buried inside their phones, the fucking tablets. Do y'all see what's going on here? Did y'all know they removed all the books outside of literally? I could say it's up to 83% now. All the books are out of the schools now. Not saying it was needed, but all the books were removed. And they got, listen, y'all gotta understand what's going on here. Did y'all know? Who know why they took writing in cursive out of the schools? This download is just freaking amazing. Like, these downloads are coming back to back right now, y'all. This is what happened when you are spiritually in tune. What happened? Why did they remove signature out of the schools? Do anybody know? Whoo! Ooh, Talisha said, so people can read important documents. Okay. Ellis said, yes, cursive, my 24 don't even know how to sign. Do anybody know why they removed cursive, writing in cursive out of the schools? Remember I say everything is all about control? Department of Education. Who removed the signature out of the schools? The Department of Education. Let's just say my name is let's just give my name let's do something name. My name is Raymond Jenkins. I'm gonna write it in plain, right? Raymond Jenkins. Y'all mind finna be blown away. God damn, these downloads are amazing. This what happen when you meditate, right? Ah, too much light. Okay, there it is. Y'all see that? Raymond Jenkins. Okay. Anybody can take that name and write it just like that. There's nothing special about that. Oh, your name? Oh, I could write that too. Raymond Jenkins. Oh, I could write that just like you. Separation is gone, right? But if I write it in cursive, what I just do? Do anybody know what the hell I just did? Cricket, I love your answer. YouTube, they said it could not be copied. The only way for me to program you, I need to hold your hand and walk with you. Our children today don't even know how to do what I just did. Everything is a digital footprint now. Oh, and certain websites, if anybody ever closed on a house the last 5 years, did you know when you on the closing documents, when you type it in online now, right? Because everything is a PDF, and when they send you those copies, you type your name in, it automatically generates you a signature. Anybody ever notice that? Bank stuff, anything that's like that's part of the federal when you type your name in on that email, how you know it will generate a signature for you? No, don't worry about it. Don't you do it. Don't you sign your name. We got it. We just need you to type it in. Just tell us your name. We got it. We got it. Don't worry about it. We got it. Yep, DocuSign got it. Yep. I use DocuSign a lot. They got it. With the little arrow, with the red arrow, DocuSign, y'all know. Y'all listen to this. I want y'all to understand this is bigger than it's big. This is a problem. And I'm talking about US wise. In fact, the number of underqualified teaching hires increased by 69%. From 2022 to 2023. When students have unqualified teachers or full-time substitutes, which I've been seeing a lot, they more likely to experience learning delays, low graduation rates, and test scores below grade level. This is why they pass or they initiated No Child Left Behind. No. We don't need you to drop out and learn on your own. Just still show up. You ain't got to do nothing, and we still gonna give you a high school diploma. No. Don't stay home and learn on your own, right? Because we afraid of that. No. Just show up. No child left behind. We still gonna pass you. Listen, am I making sense to anybody? Am I making sense to anybody? Anybody. If I said something wrong, just let me know right now. Because I know right now this reality is setting in right now, and it fucking sucks. Yeah, we could talk about Diddy. Yeah, we could talk about Alec Carter. Yeah, we could talk about what happened with Jay-Z and Beyonce. Yeah, we could talk about that. But this right here hits home for a lot of people. Yeah, y'all love it when we talking about, if I was talking about Alec Carter right now, I have over 1,000 people in this room right now. But because I'm hitting home for a lot of people ain't trying to hear this shit. Because I'm right here at your front door. I'm knocking on your front door. A lot of people don't like when you hit home. Had one person go send me a message. Great vibes, your numbers being low. I'm doing that for a reason. It's nothing for me to get over 1,000 people. That's easy. But what are we learning? I can bring y'all entertainment. That's easy. But this right here, our children are struggling every single fucking day because of us. We do not have control of our homes. Walking around your house hollering and screaming and telling your kid, that doesn't mean you have control of your children. Because remember, do we need to break the numbers down? Oh, let's do it. Are you a parent? Now, if you don't think that I'm really at your front door, oh, now I'm finna sit on your couch now. And I need you to scoot over a little bit. Let me sit right here on this couch. Ooh, woo. Let's just go a household now, right? Because the majority of our households are single mothers. So we got 12 let's start with 12 a.m. through 12 a.m., right? I bet most of y'all never broke it down like this. So from 12 a.m., and I'm just talking about, I don't want to hear where I work third shift, and let's just speak on the surface here, right? Open to get out your feelings. Let's open up your minds real quick. Let's put a little math in this. Since you are a good parent, from 12 a.m. to 5 a.m., the majority of the households are sleeping. From 5 a.m. through 7 a.m., you are getting your children up, getting up for school, feeding your kids, and getting ready for work. From 7 a.m. through 3 p.m., the children are in school. Department of Education. From 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., your children are doing homework. You're still at work. From 5 p.m. through 7 p.m., 5 p.m. to about 7, let's do 8 o'clock at the latest. You home from work. Y'all listen. You home from work. You fixing dinner. You're cleaning. And getting your kids ready for bed. Now, this is Monday through Friday. So, Monday through Friday, let's see, right? And then let's just say from 9 p.m. through, because we started at 12 a.m. through 12 a.m., you are back in the bed because you got to be at work in the morning. So, a lot of times the parents go to sleep before the kids. So, let's do the math here. Are you really spending time with your children or raising your children? You got much. So from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. you with your children, but you're busy. Right? So what's that, 2 hours? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10? 10 hours before school. From 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., that's 3 hours, 5 times a week. What's that? 8 times 3, what, 24? So that put you at 34 hours that you are with your children Monday through Friday. Now, what happens on the weekends? We know what happens on the weekends. Maybe you want to hang out. Your kids at home playing a video game. Do I need to keep going? Are we training our children or are we maintaining our children? Have we ever thought about that, broke it down like that? I knew this conversation wasn't gonna be for everybody. 34 hours out of the week you spending with your children. And I'm talking about the single parent household. So now instead of you being with your children 24/7, now you can only spend 34 hours out of the week with your children. And we wonder why our children now is indoctrinated. We wonder why our children now are so easily controlled. We are allowing the government to take over our children. Now you know. Let's do this right here. I know y'all. I got a lot. It's a lot. Um, I want y'all to listen to this. Listen to this.
President Trump finalizing plans to gut the Department of Education. Sources tell ABC News the president now weighing an executive order to direct his education secretary to submit a proposal to dismantle the agency and call on Congress to eliminate it, fulfilling a campaign promise.
Your state is going to control your children's education. We're moving it out of Washington.
Education is primarily a state and local responsibility already, but the Department of Education does serve more than 50 million students at about 130,000 public and private schools, providing billions to aid students with disabilities and also to schools in low-income communities. President Trump has put billionaire Elon...
What she just say? Oh, what she just say? Low income, boy. We got to teach y'all how to follow versus lead. We got to teach y'all to be workers. Do y'all see what's going on here? I didn't say it.
At about 130,000 public and private schools, providing billions to aid students with disabilities and also to schools in low-income communities. President Trump has put billionaire Elon Musk in charge of shrinking the federal government, and the Education Department is a top target. Sources tell ABC News a handful of representatives from Musk's Department of Government Efficiency were spotted inside the Education Department on Monday. Musk is already serving as a special government employee. His team already has access to the vast federal payment system and now has also seized control of USAID, the agency that provides U.S. humanitarian assistance around the world, locking out employees, essentially shutting it down. Members of Musk's team showed up at those offices, demanding access.
The Doge was in the building. We took down our pride flags. I took out any books I felt would be incriminating. No one was talking.
This morning, workers warned once again to stay home. USAID has a $43 billion budget, about 1% of what the federal government spends. President Trump says Musk won't do anything without approval from the White House.
Elon can't do and won't do anything without our approval, and we'll give him the approval where appropriate.
Democrats warn
Elon Musk did not create USAID. He doesn't have the power to destroy it. And who's going to stop him? We are.
Republicans responding with this message.
To my friends who are upset, I would say with respect, call somebody who cares. They better get used to this. It's USAID today. It's going to be Department of Education tomorrow.
I'm just saying. I said what I said for right now. If anybody want to come up and let me know your take, or you have in goddamn or anything that I just said, if you disagree with it, feel free to come request up to get inside the box. It's just, as y'all can see, it's because I haven't even got into immigration yet. The deportation, the mass deportation that's going on, I haven't even got there yet. Tara, how you doing? Texas Lavish, how you doing? Are you serious? Hold on one second, y'all. I see y'all. Hold on one second. Hold on one second, y'all. There it is. That's what I was looking for. YouTube, what I'm doing is I'm matching up this puzzle piece because TikTok said that they couldn't see me. They couldn't see my camera. So I got to match up a freaking puzzle piece to let them know I'm still here. But I don't know. I'm right here. You know, everybody can see me. Let me bring y'all in real quick. Okay, verification complete. Of course it's complete. Also, y'all, if y'all can, y'all please help your boy Great Vibes hit the live goal. Y'all see we need 8 more people to hit the paper cranes. Simple, I see you. Lynn, I see you in the chat. Danny, I see you in the chat. All of y'all, I see y'all in the chat. Let me see. Let me go and start letting some people up on the panel. If y'all can, mods, if y'all don't mind, can y'all start letting people up in the chat? Amber, how you doing? Good to see you. Amber, can you do me a favor? Can you request to come up if you don't mind? Okay, there y'all go. Okay, so hold on, let me bring it up on YouTube so everybody can see who's in the box.
Hey, darling.
Hey, what's going on? So I want y'all to know exactly who this is. This young lady right here. This young lady right here been with me damn near since the first 3 months I've been on TikTok, okay? She's been my moderator. She's been there with me through the ups and downs. She have supported the channel on a whole totally different level. All right? This woman right here, Amber, she would never, ever not be a moderator. Ever. Even though she changed up her life a little bit, she helped your boy. Like even Amber, tell them real quick when we used to go, when the page used to go crazy and how you was able to bring that feminine energy in and help balance everything out. She did it.
I don't know what I specifically did, but I just was being myself and trying to maintain order and having your back. So, yeah.
And she did it. So this is why y'all would see her like every 30 months. Yeah. But she left the United States, y'all. She stays somewhere in Korea now.
It's not Korea.
But just introduce yourself to everybody real quick before we move forward.
Oh, you're so sweet. And this wasn't even necessary, but I appreciate it. Hi, everybody. I'm Amber. I left the U.S. I am currently living in Albania, and I'm just chilling. And Great Vibes and I, like you said, we go back. So I'm gonna always have his back.
So why did you leave why did you leave the U.S.?
I just wanted to leave. It's something I've always wanted to do as far as like living abroad. I had an opportunity and I took it, and I have no intentions of going back. I sold everything, and yeah, the world, life is unexpected. We have no idea what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and I don't want to live with regrets. I'm getting older, so I'd rather do all the things I've always wanted to do instead of waiting to do them. So, yeah.
So as you look now on what's going on in the United States, especially with so many executive orders are being signed, and what you see what the current administration doing, or even in the past, what do you see the health condition of the U.S. even now with all the attacks, the what the president, the current administration is doing? You know, how the people are responding from looking from the outside now in. How do you observe that?
Well, I think a lot of people are responding and they have an outlook based off like a fear. And for me personally, I am just watching everything that's happening before really reacting. And a lot of people are just reacting. Like everybody was in an uproar about the tariffs and what Canada was going to do. Apparently, Canada was like, hey, let's work together essentially, So I'd rather just see how everything kind of plays out. I don't really have too many problems with a lot of things that are going on. Like with the whole DEI and everything. Like I was talking to somebody and I had made a post and they're like, well, I just got laid off and, because of my religious exemption. And so I asked this person, I was like, well, my understanding is that with DEI, there's a quota. They have a quota for so many religious exemptions, race, disabilities, blah, blah, blah. So if you were hired to fill those quotas, then I can understand why you got laid off. I mean, it sucks to hear that and to say that, but that's where we're at right now. So it's just kind of based off merit and skill is what I think. So I'm just going to continue to watch and see what happens. It hasn't even been a month yet. Let's just see how everything plays out before we start freaking out and thinking we're all going to like unalive or something's going to happen.
No, absolutely.
And for the
Absolutely.
record, I didn't vote for anybody. So I'm not choosing anybody's side here. I'm just like, as a US citizen, your president is Donald Trump. I mean, I'm a citizen too. So technically he's my president, but I don't live here with you guys. So that's just my view. Who am I?
She said what she said. Real quick. Thank you so much for that, Amber. Like I cannot believe it's been
You're welcome.
what 4 years now. God, dog, that went by quick. Infinite.
Has it been? Oh my
Yes,
God.
it's been 4 years now. Infinite, how you doing?
I'm good. What's up, Great Vibes?
Hey man, can't call it, man. What you got? Talk to me. Everything that you heard me talk about, you see what's on. Let's not talk about deportation yet. I haven't got to that. So when it comes to the Department of Education and how I was able to take it all the way back to the 1700s, what have you had to say so far on everything or anything?
Well, first off, I'm so happy that you're doing this live on this topic because this is something that I talk about a lot in conversations. I've been talking about this subject for a while, and it often gets overlooked and I think because a lot of people have no context for it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm glad you're doing this because the rabbit hole on this subject is very, very deep. You know what I'm saying? So um, I'm actually planning on doing a live myself on the same topic, but just from a slightly different angle, and because it needs to be talked about. I've been bringing this up even before the election came up. I was talking about this subject all the time because it ties into so many things. It's really the Department of Education. When you do your due diligence on it, you'll find that, as you've already touched on already, that it's basically it's a social engineering apparatus. And, and there's others too, like mainstream media is another one. But the Department of Education, I think it's even more vast because it ties to so many other things, like some of which you've touched on already. It ties into the court system and everything. It's like a spider web, if you will. It's very deep and it's very diabolical. You know what I mean? It's because basically in a nutshell, what you have been touching on is the fact that, it has just that. There's no other way to say it. It's the social engineering apparatus that they put in place to control to dismantle strategically, meticulously dismantle the nuclear family. And from that, everything else would unravel. And like you said too, they think decades ahead when they plan things. They think in such a way where even if they know that they themselves aren't going to be around to see their plan come to fruition, they really don't even care. They just play their part, and that's how they think. Whereas everyday people kind of think for the moment, but these people, they think long term. They play the long game, So this stuff was thought out a long time ago, So yeah, that's just what I basically wanted to come up and touch on. You're on the right track. I'm glad you're talking about it. I'm so glad you're talking about this. It needs to be talked about.
Oh, it's no problem, man, because I'm definitely going to pick your brain. Let me ask you this right here. Is the
Hey, real quick, I'm gonna drop down. I'm headed to the store. Sorry.
All right, no problem.
Have a good live, though.
All right, you too, love.
Okay.
Let me ask you this right here. Uh, let me see how I can ask this. Is the Department of Education, is it needed?
No. Well, no. Let me say it this way. I won't go as far as to say to do away with it. But what I will say is it definitely needs restructuring. I'll put it that way. And this is why I say that is because I heard you at the beginning of this conversation. I heard you brought up how you threw the question out there of, when you go to school in this system, do they teach you anything about, for example, how mortgages work? And that's a no. I see that's the stuff I talk about all the time. They don't teach you those things. They don't teach you about insurance. They don't teach you anything that you really need to know to function in this practically in the world. They teach you none of that. And I've been saying that for a long time. They don't there's no way that you should get a high school diploma in your hand without knowing all these things that you're gonna have to do when you step out into the so-called real world. You're going to, at some point, you know, either you're going to rent or you're going to get a mortgage at some point. But you've never been introduced to that. Why is it that when you sit down and you fill out mortgage documents, is this such an intimidating process for most people? It shouldn't be, but it is, because you were never introduced to it. And you don't know that they're bamboozling you, but that's by design. They teach you nothing about insurance policies and how insurance works. I used to be an insurance salesman at one point. So that was a disturbing thing to me, because I used to sit down with families and I saw face to face how uneducated people were on that topic, so, but these are the type of things, managing your finances, the stock market, how that works. None of these things do they introduce you to in the court system. I mean, in the school system. And that's also why when people, when we go into the court atmosphere, why we get bamboozled by the court system, because they took civics out of school. They took civics out of school decades ago, and they did that on purpose. So they watered it down, and civics really taught you about how your government actually taught you more in depth about how government works and things of that nature. It taught you about, law and stuff like that. But they didn't want you to know that, because they wanted to victimize you. So they had to remove these things from the curriculum. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, that's what they did.
All right, so let me ask you this right here. When it comes to what was that question? When it comes to home economics, because remember I brought up the family structure, right?
Right.
When it comes to home economics, why do you think they took that out of schools?
Again, well, my answer to that is so that you could be a victim of the system rather than being able to prosper. So I remember home economics, but it wasn't a lot of economics being taught in home ec. It was home economics. When I had home economics was, you did learn valuable things. They taught you. I remember learning things like, it was basically home skills that you were being taught. When I received home economics, you were basically being taught like different skills. I remember just how to sew and how to, just how to function, different functionality things you learn. But there was no economics being taught in home economics. So I don't know why they called it home economics.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You hold tight right there, Infinite, because a lot of stuff what you just said, I was writing it down. That's why I was muting my mic. I'm writing this stuff down. Let's see. Simply, how you doing? Welcome to the live.
I'm waiting on my mindset is back rate vibes. We don't had this conversation a month ago, and you was like, my bad, but I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing just fine.
Mm-hmm.
So what you got on the Department of Education?
So my issue is that I hear a lot of people talking, but people keep forgetting. I even heard someone down below say, or saw her say, well, I'm a teacher. Well, no offense. I've seen doctors prescribe people prescription for things they were, allergic, like definitely allergic to for entertainment purposes. So my point is that you have the U.S. Department of Education upholds civil rights enforcement. So civil rights also, this covers those kids with disabilities that are in school that for some reason people are forgetting about, because there's times that at the district level, the state level, where they're violating these children's rights, and you have to wind up going to the U.S. Department of Education in order for them to enforce it. I had to do that with my son last year. So he had a 504 and was moved to an IEP program. His school did not enforce anything for him at all. And I'm like, okay, you guys wrote it up, but are you going to enforce it? I had to wind up filing the complaint. I pulled him out to a different school district while that complaint was filed. And for some reason, and I already knew this, But a lot of people are not thinking about these kids. They're like, oh, well, the system doesn't work. I'm not saying that it's perfect, but put something in place before just disbanding it. And a lot of these parents are not equipped to teach these kids that have special needs. Some can, but all these parents can't do that. Yeah,
Points.
yeah. So that's one of the things that I'm concerned about. And so with 504, the enforcement agency over that is the U.S. Department of Education and Civil Rights, OCR. And then with the IEP program, the department that's over there for enforcing it is the U.S. Department of Education. So on a state level, it would be the DOE for the states. But if the state doesn't uphold it and handle it accordingly, yes, you have to involve them. So I just don't know how this is supposed to play out, because if the enforcement's not there, what happens to these kids? And a lot of these kids are already going through things because they're not being properly handled or taken care of in these schools. I've seen doctors had to go and contact the school and report to school in order to make sure that the patient got the help that they needed.
Wow.
So I just, so I get what people are saying, but what happens to that? And is there a plan for these kids that were on their way to college, the kids that's graduating this spring? Who's going to process their, their student loans and their grants? Because if we shut the whole thing down, I mean, I don't know when the last time someone, dealt with financial aid, or even if it was a loan that was serviced by, you had to still go through the Department of Education and file for financial aid. Who's going to process that? Unless people just got $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 to be writing checks for. And some of you parents have more than one child in college at the same time.
Absolutely. By them turning this over to the state right now, I mean, it's still in this like it's premature stage right now. So none of us know how this is going to turn out. Right. So right now it's just almost it's one of those things to where it's not sit back and wait. It's just, how can we get involved, right? But that's if you want to take it to the federal level, because they still going to give the states control of the public school system. But how would they take that? Will it become private? Right? You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, look at what they're doing to United States Post Office. Right? I just got word earlier today that they cut out China. The United States Postal Service is not even doing business with China anymore.
Now, Great Vibes, I saw people crash out all last night. They were like, "Wait a minute, my Alibaba didn't even get here yet." And I'm concerned because you do have a lot of U.S. businesses that order in bulk from like Alibaba, or what's the other one? Not eBay, but it's kind of like Alibaba, AliExpress.
Okay.
People
I'm
order
listening.
in bulk from them, and they're and they sell it in their own within their businesses. But yeah, all the packages were turned. The ones that were in process got turned back. If it already made it to the side of the world, then yeah, they're delivering it. But I mean, that's not necessarily an end all, because there's times I received packages from China through other methods, other delivery methods. So I don't know how that's going to pan out, but you guys might want to contact the business that you guys, purchased from, to see how they're going to ship your items to you, or if they're going to issue a refund.
Hey, how you doing today? Great Vibes. How are you doing today, Great Vibes?
Thank you.
Are you Bonita in here? You want her to go ahead and speak?
Hello? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, sweetie? Okay, I understand what you're saying about the schools, and I just want to touch on something. What about that when the pandemic came? They put that Blu-ray light out there while we was locked in the houses. And that light bothers our babies' eyes. They've never said nothing about that. They having all kind of problems. Their school is ridiculous. They took God out the school and it went to hell, y'all. I don't understand what society then turned upside down. Everything is about money now. It ain't about teaching. I want to address what the young man said about home economics. I went to Cooley High. They taught me home. I've been cooking since I was 7 years old. I know how to cook and bake. Home economics taught Benita that. What the problem is, they stopped paying these teachers right and treating them like they were human beings. They started treating them like they were animals. So therefore, they don't want to teach no more. We mothers, fathers, get involved with these kids in school. Stop depending on the schools to take care of your child going to school and start helping them. Every chance you get, volunteer. That's what I did. My daughter graduated from Richfield High School, and they used to pick at her. And I had to go there and let them know, I am a mom that don't work. That's on Social Security, baby. I will volunteer here every day. My baby will be 60 years old, still waiting on that diploma. Now, you going to work with me or against me? My daughter graduated from Richfield High School. They didn't want to see me no more. But we got to get involved. We got to stop depending on these schools and start as parents. Stick it in our hand. If you got 2-parent household, one of y'all work on that school. When you get your off days, you work on it. We got to start doing it ourselves, y'all. They not going to help us with nothing. You can see that. Look who our president is. Come on now. Are you for real? I ain't never saw a president get elected again, and you got so many cases. They talking to us. Stop putting them in there and not going behind them. If you elect them to sit in that chair, go make sure they in that chair doing what they were supposed to do. You know what Benita Parnell used to do? I used to volunteer at the courthouse, and I did it for years. You know why I did it? Because I started, when them college students got out of school, I got their butt up in that courthouse. Because we so good to raise up high and look down on everybody. We got to start helping each other. You cannot look for these teachers and principals to help. We got to help. Them are our babies. They not, I don't blame them. They're not getting paid what they supposed to get paid. Them kids bad. They fight back. They bite. They do some of everything today. They so zooted and booted. We gotta stand up. It take a village to raise a child. Ain't no more grandmas. Ain't no more, grandma at 18, 15. We got to do it ourselves now. And stop depending on the schools. We are the school. They wouldn't be there if it wasn't for us. So we got to get out there ourselves and do it. When they had them kids at home and giving them the computer, they knew them Blu-ray lights was hurting them babies' eyes. They locked us up in the house talking about a pandemic while they went out there and built it. Now we got to fight back and learn. Ain't no more marching. I'm tired of marching. My feet hurt. It's time for us to act as parents, as people, as a whole. Stop judging one another and start standing together. You do like them Black Panthers did. Let's get it together, y'all. Thank you for hearing me, brother, and let me talk. I'll go back in the chat.
Hi, great vibes. I saw Benita had popped in, so I wanted to give her grace and let her speak. First and foremost, I want to thank you for giving us this educational platform, because a lot of us didn't know how the Department of Education started and who started it. And I was one of those people, I'm not ashamed to say. As far as our school system, it has been broken for a very long time, since I can remember when I was in school. They don't teach our children the things we need to learn in school, which is the science of making money, and the science of how money works, finances, things of those nature. They're teaching our children things that they're probably not going to use when they go out here in this world. So me as being a grandmother, I tutor all my grandchildren. Whatever the school do, I undo when they get home to let them know this ain't that, this is not this, and this is not how that works. They done changed the Common Core to where they confuse the kids with mathematics, reading, writing, all of those things. So that plays an effect on the children as well. And I want to address the lady that was speaking about the IEPs and the 501 plans in school. Do most of you know that when they place your child in a special education class, they get paid more for that child in school than the average child that's in school in regular ed? So that's something we also need to look at too. Are most of these children really special ed, or is it due to lack of education? And I'm going to raise my hand and say it's due to lack of education. Because they taught us growing up in school that Christopher Columbus discovered America. No, he didn't. He didn't discover America, but this is what they teaching our children. He landed on a Caribbean island first. So in order for us to undo what they done, we got to get back to teaching our children to what we know and getting them books deeper than what the school taught us to be into. Because if not, we're going to have a generation of children that's walking around out here clueless and can't even tie one shoe to the other one and probably can't pour a piss out of a boot. Okay? So I'm just going to say this. At the end of the day, we as parents have to take the responsibility for our own children's education. And for those parents who lack education themselves, get you a tutor. Learn how to read and write so you can teach your children when you have them or your grandchildren. It's never too late to learn, my babies. So I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm going to let somebody else have the floor. And thank you for letting me speak.
Great vibes. Well, first of all, I'm gonna tell you the breaking news. So 2 planes just collided in Seattle at the airport. So just I was trying to get your attention. I didn't want to speak over anyone. But yes, so that just happened. But please don't speak on my child. I don't know what her name is unless you know exactly what's going on. My uncle is a superintendent. I'm very informed. I think Great Vibes would tell you I am informed on these things, but my child is neurospicy. To be honest, he's extremely intelligent, but he thinks differently. So one of the pediatricians that I work with actually told me about 7 years ago that what they have not admitted to the public is that most of these kids that are neurospicy, that their brain has actually evolved. So they process things differently. But you also have a lot of teachers that are impatient and want kids to learn the way that they want them to learn. They want them to learn the same way, the same strokes for all of them. They all have to process things the same way. So with that being said, just please be mindful that some of these kids, is not that someone's being lazy. These kids learn differently. They're not all the same.
Oh, I wasn't speaking on your child personally if you were referring to me. I was speaking on how the school places some of these children in IEP programs and they get paid more money. I have no room to speak on your child because I don't know your child. So, and I raised a child who has autism. So I'm aware of the IEPs and those plans as well. So please don't think I was speaking personally on your child in that manner, because I was not, ma'am.
Thank you.
Now, when it comes to the special education, that is a true statement. Like I know here in our inner city, they have over 83% of the schools now, they have labeled over 50% of the children that's in these school system as special education. And if y'all go to any school system, go to your local board of education, you can actually pull those records and see how they got the children labeled inside the school. It will blow your mind. We finna rotate in a second. Jessica, I got you. I see you. Loyalty, how you doing?
Oh, good evening. Okay, hi. This is what I have to say about the matter. Okay, I agree that it's lack of education and that the teachers don't seem as experienced as they should be to even be teaching the kids. Like, some teachers do seem to have the experience, but a lot of teachers don't have the patience. And nowadays, I know we haven't spoke on immigration yet, But it you know, I'm with mass deportation because like you all, we complain about the school system right now. They don't even want to work on American kids and have the patience and time to help American kids, but you're fighting for illegal kids to be in the school system. They can barely speak the language that, you know, that's frequently spoken at the school, you know, so you're having to take out more time and all that there, and you already don't have the patience to work with the kids that you have to work with. So why are they putting so much into trying to, I understand that people are going through things and everything. We haven't spoke on immigration, like I said. But yeah, I just I don't like that because yesterday I was doing homework with my son, and I know last week the teacher called me because he wouldn't sit down or something. So she had me, I spoke to him, and I was asking her, has he had any homework? And it made me feel like the teacher was being dishonest because like he's happy to come home and do homework. He does homework because I make it fun for him. You know, I go in there and we, you know, we do it and make it fun. So I'm used to him having homework daily, and his teacher just passed away like earlier this year. She was an elderly lady, and I really didn't understand why my son is in the first grade, why they had a lady so old teaching him, you know. But anyway, that's a different subject. But yeah, so I was asking the new teacher, did they have any homework any last week? And she was like, yes, we've been having homework. He hadn't been bringing any in. I'm like, okay, so if you're used to seeing him bring homework in, he does homework daily, and he haven't done any homework this week, why haven't someone contacted me and let me know that he hasn't been doing homework? Because I'm thinking that like, oh, why y'all not sending homework home? Because I like for my child to come home and with some homework, something, show me what you all did throughout the day so that we can practice on it more at home, you know. And so that was a problem for me. And she was like, well, I'm gonna send some homework home if he the only one that get it. So I'm like, okay, whatever, that's fine, you know, as long as he has something to come home and practice or whatever. And so yesterday when we was doing homework, it's like he's in the first grade, and I'm like, I don't know. I just don't know. It's crazy because I'm like, what is the school teaching you? Because like I'm going over these things with you at home, and then it's like you go to school and then you come home and you forget it. It's like what's going on? Like, are y'all even doing work, or is the teachers just having the kids to just sit down and stay out of their way? Like, I don't know. Like, it seems to me like they're not even really even teaching anything at the schools anymore.
Do you know about the on the federal level? What do you know about the Department of Education?
I don't really know much about the Department of Education on the federal level, but another thing I want to speak about was the state level. Okay, so if it's going to be a state thing, then I think it's best for parents to be able to come together. If we have to complain about what's going on at the schools, parents need to come together, like I'm saying about like homework and all these different extracurricular activities, like need to be put back into the school, because they don't even have extracurricular activities anymore due to, you know, since the pandemic, we don't have it anymore for the kids to even have things to do after school. Yeah, they might tutor, but they do tutoring over Zoom. You know, everything is done on the computer. No one is, you know, having contact with anyone anymore. Like, and I was looking for some extracurricular activities for my, like I said, first grade child to be in after school to keep him kind of like, because he has all this energy channeled up, you know, and so he needs something to do, and we really don't let him go outside and do too much outside, like, because I don't know, these kids are a little rough. I know he's a little boy, he should be able to play rough, but I don't know, but yeah, I would like for him to be able to have an activity like basketball or some kind of sport like t-ball, or you know, something just something to kind of be able to put all that energy into. hmm
Now, with these questions, how old is your son?
He's 6. He'll be 7 this year.
Is the father active?
Yes, I'm married.
Okay, how long y'all been married?
10 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Now, would it be safe to say that you think your child may be better off being by you teaching your own child instead of the school system teaching your child?
I do.
So what are we going to do about that?
I don't know, like, what is the best solution? Homeschool?
So we got to realize. Hold on. So we got to realize before that's what was going on in our household. That's how we kept the family coalition together. But now our children is being indoctrinated by the school system. This is why we have more followers now than leaders, and it's showing now. But that would be your decision, okay? But that would
Yes.
be your decision, okay?
And another thing I want to speak about.
Hold on.
And another thing I want to
Okay, Benita, I had to mute you up. Go ahead.
Okay. Another thing I want to speak about before I leave. Okay, the No Child Left Behind. I think that's a bad idea because, like, in my days, like, if a child wasn't learning on the level that they were supposed to be learning on, I knew parents that would hold their child back. And now they have this No Child Left Behind. So it's like, regardless, just show up at school. Like, you ain't even got to do much. Just come, And so that's kind of like the easy way out and just passing them through. And that's the reason why they're getting so far behind, because they're not even learning what they need to learn throughout this year. And you're going to send them to another year at another level for another grade level. And they haven't even learned what they need to learn yet for that grade level. So I think the No Child Left Behind is a bad idea.
Oh yeah, it's been a bad idea because it's been implemented for some time now. But thank you so much for coming up and telling, explaining to us, the situation that you're dealing with. But it's up
Hello.
to. I'm sorry about that. I said, thank you so much for coming up and telling us about your situation. But remember, the only way we're going to change these situations is up to us parents, not the system.
What you think about the No Child Left Behind situation?
It's some bullshit all the way around.
Yeah, I think so too.
So that mean I'm gonna give you something for not doing nothing. So this is why we're dealing with entitled children now, right? You don't have to earn anything. We got kids not showing up for work on time. We got kids not being accountable for anything because it was all taught in the school. You don't have to earn. You don't have to work for anything. We're just going to give it to you.
Yeah, I think that's a bad idea because the kids not learning as they should, and that's the reason why y'all complaining now, saying, "Oh, we have kids that can't read on the 3rd grade level, but they're in the 10th grade and can't do this on the 5th grade level, and you about to graduate." Like, really?
So I did the math. Once again, it goes back to us as parents. We're not spending the adequate time alongside our children. Either they being occupied by a phone or a tablet, video game, or school. So out of the week, you talk about Monday through Friday, the parents spend almost less than 30 hours a week per week with our children. And what is that? How is that raising our children? So that sounds like to me we're maintaining our children. So we got to look at what's going on inside the home, and we got to revisit that conversation with ourselves. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's right. Well, I want to come back up when you get to talking about deportation.
Okay, no problem. I got you.
Oh, all right. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. Hold on, everybody. Hold on one second. The next young lady, you're next. Let's go on.
Is that Trading Mama? All right, I guess so. So hello everybody. My major problem that we're facing right now is that the school seems to be more interested in taking me to court for truancy for my 5th grade child whose immune system has always been shot, or I guess it's always been an ongoing issue with her, and being home from COVID for 2 years of not being around any germs or anything like that definitely didn't help. So now that we're back in school, we are constantly sick, constantly. And so now they are threatening to take me to court, a juvenile court, because of truancy, with additional threats and fines and even jail time. It is a very serious thing, and I don't take it lightly. But I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do about it. I show up to every board meeting. I've asked to speak to the principal, always goes to voicemail. I have yet to hear back. He's always in meetings. I have gotten the social worker involved, who suggested that I try to reward my child with going to school with a reward chart to go to school. This is not the issue. And as a parent, I feel like I am completely stuck. And I know I'm not alone, because I've heard this problem in multiple states. And I don't know what to do. I'm at my wit's end. And now they need a note for every single time she's out. Well, I'm not going to take her to the doctor every single illness. I mean, viruses, what have you, there's no antibiotic for that. You just have to give it time. So, I mean, unless it's something like strep, I'm not taking her to the doctor for a doctor's note, just to satisfy the school. And, but that's what they require now every single time. And I don't know. I don't know what to do about that situation with my youngest.
Great, but I wanted to ask her a couple questions, just because I'm a nurse and I had an issue with my son too, especially around that time. If you don't mind me asking, what state are you in?
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not that familiar with Minnesota, but if you have a child that's immunocompromised and tends to get sick a lot, especially with everything that's going on, I would just ask the doctor to write a letter in general saying that this child is immunocompromised. There are times that, mom or dad, the parents may decide to keep her home or keep your child at home in order to protect them and possibly the other students. So that way, because I do get what you're saying, you're not going to take your child to an appointment for each and every time that you feel like, you know what, you need to stay home, or you're running a low grade fever. And if you know anything about, the body, sometimes even when we are sick, your body, sometimes you don't run a fever, which means that your body isn't fighting it off, which is no good, but you're not running a fever. Sometimes they look for that. So I think maybe just asking your doctor to write a letter for you like that. And as far as going to court, let them know, hey, I did this in the best interest of my child. Based on her health issues or his health issues, it would have made it worse to send them to school. And I don't see how you're being penalized. Like, I believe you, obviously, but what I'm saying, I don't understand the logic of penalizing you and your child for that.
Right. And I mean, I could understand if like CPS was involved, or it was a situation where there might be something more going on, but I mean, it's far from that. It is literally a fifth grader who is sick a lot. And, and there's constantly things going around. She just finished strep this week. The week before that, she had norovirus. So, I mean, it's constantly, it's like, and we know these things are going around, but then it's like, so I bring her to school, and then an hour later, I'm getting a call from the nurse's office that I need to come get her. It's like, well, you told me I have to bring her to school. So it's at a loss. And my other point of that too is that at what point and how much information are we to provide? Is it the school's business to know exactly what diagnosis she has? And because the form that they gave me to fill out, it wanted to know when the symptoms started, how long the symptoms are expected to last, what the diagnosis was, how long that's expected to last. If she's given medication, how long that's going to last. I mean, it was this long list of things that
You don't have to. That's a HIPAA violation. You don't have to provide that. They might ask for it, but even if because I worked in especially people that are familiar with Texas healthcare systems. I actually worked at family medicine within Scott and White. They wouldn't let us write those. What we could do is say, hey, the child, needs to be off for this, and this, amount of time, but they don't usually like giving the actual diagnoses or the medication that they're on in particular, because it can be seen as a HIPAA violation.
Right.
So like if the judge would request it, so the judge could look at it, that's one thing. But for the school to have it, unless your child's being given medication at the school to treat whatever illness by the school nurse. That's different.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, that was kind of my thought as well. Because I'm in healthcare myself, and I know about HIPAA, and I mean, you cannot ask those questions. Like, you absolutely not. Like, back in our day, your parent or even your doctor would write a note and just say, she was out this time and leave it at that. But it's like, it's not enough. It's constant. At this point, I'm almost welcoming going to court, because I literally, I don't know what more to do. And maybe a judge can guide me then, because it's like my hands are tied. So,
and to the person, because someone below is saying it's not a HIPAA violation, it very much is. That's another reason too that it's not allowed on your credit report anymore for healthcare bills that went into collections. So yes, it is. I've been a nurse for almost 13 years. You do not have to
disclose that information at all. But yeah, and then the other part of the spectrum, so I have a son now that's in high school. He's in 11th grade, and 3 of his 6 classes, he has no class. He has no teacher. How is that even possible? Same school district. So 3 of the 6 classes they consider blended, which sometimes could be online. It could also mean a teacher is out and they couldn't cover for a substitute teacher. So they all go to the auditorium and sit and do quote unquote schoolwork. And that is 3 out of the 6 classes that he's had. And I am just like, what? You're not learning anything. Like, you're literally just sitting there. You're a body. And it's insanity. And with him, so there's no more accountability. If you're missing an assignment, it's not marked late. If you fail a test, you didn't really fail it, because you can always retake it. So there's no responsibility for these things. And now we're seeing the backlash of this, because now we're waiting till the very last minute to do everything all at once the night before the semester's done, because that's the final time that you have to turn in your assignments. It's like, what kind of work ethic? I mean, what? I'm just amazed. But that's my 2 cents. That's what I'm experiencing. Thank you for letting me talk.
Hey, how you doing? How are you? Oh, I was saying I'm learning a lot, because, baby, I'm glad I learned cursing right in 3rd grade. But we all go to private schools. I graduated from public schools, but it kind of messed me up education wise, because we ain't learned anything. All we did was cosmetology. They kind of stereotyped us. I ain't trying to be funny. Like, they had like all the black girls. We was in the cosmetology, and then they had the guys in, mechanic, and then they had like some of the YT people. They had them like in economics and other stuff. So I feel like my education was messed up, but I'm glad, like, I'm putting my kid through private school right now. So I'm glad
Hey, are you from? Or did you go to high school?
I went to Parker High School.
I guess what I'm asking is what state? Because what I'm noticing is
Alabama.
Alabama. Okay, I've noticed that it's different in different areas. I'm noticing. But you asked me a question in the comments. You were talking about the cursive and how they aren't teaching kids cursive any longer. That is being done by design. A lot of the stuff that Great Vibes has covered in his live in different times. Great Vibes, you listening? He here? He might not be, because he said, Jessica, you got it. But okay, Great Vibes. Have you heard the many different theories why they took cursive out and they stopped teaching the kids cursive? Oh, yeah. Okay. So,
I was telling her I like to hear her
one of the reasons, now mind you, I first noticed this because my son wasn't yet in a grade where he would learn cursive, but I think it was like 2014, 2015. One of the kids came to the doctor's appointment. They were about 18 years old. And you know how it'll say, write your name, print your name, and then sign. Well, I noticed that they did not sign it. They printed their name on both spots. So the nursing supervisor said, hey, we need you to refill this out and actually put your signature. And he said, I did sign it. That, sir, you print, okay, that's, you print it. That's not a signature. So he said that he didn't learn it in school. We were like, wait a minute, what do you mean? Come to find out, they weren't teaching cursive. So for a lot of people that's into a lot of esoteric things, you come to learn that cursive, think about the name of it, cursive, learning how to script. Apparently they didn't want the kids to know how to script anymore because it's been a problem for them. So unless you go to a private school, you don't learn how to script. You don't know how to write in cursive because spelling, casting a spell. Again, don't argue with me. That was what was put out there, that they intentionally did that because they did not want certain groups of people to learn how to do it. And they never intended for you to learn cursive to use it in that way. They can use it that way, but they didn't want certain groups to learn it. So that's what was said. But I do find it interesting that we're not teaching it in public schools. And then also too, there are some schools that are teaching it that's public, but you have to be in a certain zip code that pays a certain type of taxes. So that's what I'm noticing. So certain areas, that's why you would hear about certain people moving out of different areas to get their kids a better education because of the tax bracket. Because my son was taking yoga. This boy had yoga. They had IT. He was learning coding in 2nd grade because of where we moved to. And we didn't pay for it. It was free. Yoga and coding. Okay? They don't do that everywhere.
Hi, if I can piggyback off of what Simply was saying with the cursive as well, is that when you write these things down, you're doing it and you're casting spells, but when you're speaking it, you're also casting spells. Now, when you say education, I don't, as a treaty status Indian knowledge keeper, hear the words education. I hear indoctrination. And for many people, they are unaware that there is a mass genocide going on against First Nations in the United States territory, because we call it hi Simply, we call it Turtle Island. And everybody, if you are not First Nations, you are an immigrant. Just how far back do you go? We are trying to reconcile a genocide against all immigrants that have invaded our territories and indoctrinated children into institutions of assimilation that they call schools. So of course, the department will need to be gutted. It will need to be restructured because your normal that you're living today is genocide against First Nations. Now, if you're living and perpetuating this cycle, wouldn't you want it stopped? You wouldn't want it to keep going, right? So they're slowly teaching people how to restructure their own lives, because if they were to mass report this as to what's going on, if you think during COVID we had toilet paper shortages, it would be hysteria. It would be crazy out here. So they're going to do it in steps and stages, and Trump is just ramping it up something fierce. But eventually, the only way to survive what is coming, Chief Arvo Looking Horse said that you must return to spirituality. We are all related. We have more in common than we do have different. And the only way to survive it is to go to your indigenous culture, is to live off of the land. We were foretold as First Nations that we would see the unaliving of America because America forgot the instructions on how to survive and how to live. What you're seeing, the city in the background, that's not natural. To me, when I see that, I see pollution. I see destruction. I see destruction of water on a massive scale. And you're right, it is the Hopi prophecy. We saw in 2012, we saw that the Hopi prophecy was that we were going to see the end of the world. We are witnessing that. In this area, we have a legend called White Buffalo Calf Woman. She is the First Nations representative of what you would equate to Jesus Christ. She is our messenger. And in our teachings, we were told that we would begin to see the white buffaloes when she returned. We started seeing the first white buffalo in 1996. We have seen at least one every year since. We know that she is here, and you will see the spirit rise first in the women, and then it will come through everybody. But first, we must acknowledge what has happened here in this territory, and we must restructure it. And anytime you do that, it's going to be messy. It's going to be ugly. But in the end, it'll be better. So just hold on for the ride.
Can I add to what you just said, She touched on something important, a lot of important stuff she just said actually, but I wanted to touch on the first thing that she brought up about the about education and versus indoctrination, and that's an important point too, because what a lot of people don't realize, right, is that and this is another reason why it needs to be it needs to be dismantled and perhaps restructured, is because now from a legalese perspective, right, you know, with the word games, when you say Department of Education, what you're actually saying is a department without education. Okay. And the same thing applies to when you say Department of anything, because in legalese, the of means without. So the same thing when they corporatized the United States back in 1871, United States of America, and they gave birth to the United States Corporation. Those who know that they changed that one word. They changed it from the United States for the Constitution for the United States for America became the Constitution of the United States of America. And the insertion of that one word of changed the whole meaning of what the document. So that's the importance of words. And see, this is also why the indoctrination system, as it should be called, is set up the way it's set up, because I always say that they don't teach you how to read in public school in America. They teach you how to recite. There's two different things. When lawyers go to school to become lawyers and attorneys, they learn how to read, because reading is interpretation. The average person doesn't learn how to read in public school in America. They learn how to recite. There's a big difference. So that's why they call them lawyers versus the layman. The laymen don't know how to read, you know. And if you spend a lot of time in the court environment, you'll figure that out. But you know, she touched on something important there, because that distinction needs to be made.
I got your back.
If I can add on that as well, to understand what has happened.
Yeah, I just wanted to just to add on to give emphasis to what she had already said. That's important. That's why they set it up that way. It's so they didn't want you to know how to read, and that's a very significant thing. It's a very significant thing. That was all I wanted to say at the moment.
No, sir, not today. My turn? This is a great panel, and thank you for having it. Education is actually how I got involved with politics. And for whoever was asking about the homeschooling, Trump actually has a plan for homeschooling in his Agenda 47. I think it's like the third item down, where he discusses how to bring some of the resources that were in brick and mortar to the home if it's necessary, and how to couple some of the extracurricular activities that are at the school and make them accessible for the homeschool. That's one. Two, when you guys were discussing some of the things that are happening with the Department of Education, the IEP, and the 504 plans, with particularly people that look like my kids, there's something very specific that you see, because I think it was the host that said that a lot of the kids are being pushed into that program, right? But if you pay attention, they're pushed into what's called social emotional and not learning. So it's actually a pipeline. I'm in Cali, that kind of trends them straight to the pipeline to prison, because it puts them on a track where their social emotional is being critiqued nonstop, and it gives all the criteria to get them either expelled, suspended a lot quicker than they normally would. In California, and I say this almost on every panel, the number of BLK boys, and I know this panel isn't BLK, but I'm using them as an example. There is, I believe, 9% of the student body from 9th to 12th grade is BLK. 92% of that group is expelled before the 12th grade, which is astronomical, which means basically that system doesn't work for them. And so you can't necessarily just blame that on the teacher. However, it's kind of like a conglomerate of issues, right? That may not just be for the school to solve. And so because there's so much money going into a program that's not serving them, I believe one of Trump's ideas is to just do something different. Additionally, if once they get, a lot of those kids are taken out of the school system and put into the juvenile system, basically prison for kids. That same kid brings from the state about $320K annually, just one student. So if they keep them in prison, the prison makes $320. When they're in school, they're only giving the school at max about $23,000, and that's if they're in the special education program. So one of the ideas is to move that money around, like take the money from the prison system and put it into the school system. So like if you give the school $320K per kid, I think we'd have a different outcome. That's one idea. The other idea is I think the schools are top heavy. You know, there's a lot of administrate. I've worked with my children through special ed, and there's a program on top of program, on top of program, on top of program, on top of program, all garnering wages, right? And then the teacher is in a classroom with students that are either push-ins and pull-outs, and they all need one-on-ones, like they all need aides, you know what I mean? And she's only got one aide that may float in and out, and she's got 30 kids, some with behavior issues, some don't speak English, and so then she's looked at as not doing her job. Well, she was set up from failure to begin with. And so when he says he's taking the money from that department, I don't think it's to dismantle it. I think he's trying to get the money where it can directly impact, is my personal opinion. I decided to just homeschool because even though I don't agree with what's happening in the school, I don't particularly agree with the very kind and eloquent lady at the top either. And so when it's like that, it basically means nobody is right. You know what I mean? Like while we don't agree with what's going on in the school, I wouldn't want that either. I put my kid in therapy and they started talking about dream catchers. I took them out because that's not what I believe in. And so that's, in my own opinion, is what Trump is trying to get us to, where we raise our kids individually the way we think and want them to be raised, period. Lastly, the lady that was discussing where she was trying to set up rewards for her kids to go to school, they call that school avoidance sometimes. And it can be looked at as school avoidance. My daughter was bullied, so what they were calling school avoidance wasn't necessarily school avoidance. And I'm expressing this to you so you can understand the position the school is in, because they're also mandated reporters. So you almost, because you said two things. You said that you didn't want to be micromanaged at the school, and you didn't want to take her to the doctors. But you almost have to do one or the other, particularly, well, at least in the state of California. I work really closely with my kid's doctor and or their therapist. One of the two have to cover you so that you're not putting the school in a position where they just have to take the parent's word if they're not going to homeschool, because they're mandated. And so there's kids that need to be protected a lot, even though you're probably telling the truth. They're also just doing their job. So it's almost better if you just make it easier and work very closely with your doctor. And that's basically it. Thank you for having me.
Oh, well, I appreciate y'all telling me that, because, yeah.
Just also the link. If anyone that wanted a link for their kids to take classes, there's I'll send it to you, but please DM me. But I will say that my son is asthmatic. So there were certain concentrated outbreaks. I know when we had him in a certain area in school, and I had to hold him home. Now, the doctor just wrote a general letter for us that was like, listen, and the school already knew that he was asthmatic, and I personally didn't have an issue with them knowing that, because they had his machine, his nebulizer machine, in case he ever had a situation at school. So it was PRN, and so they already knew, but the doctor just was like, listen, she can pull him out. They can pull him out at any time and keep him home, especially if you guys are having an outbreak of anything, because he's immunocompromised and he's had too many issues, scarring of the lungs. We're just going to avoid all of that. And they stopped asking me. Only thing I had to do was to send an email. I would send an email to the school nurse and the principal. And for me, I didn't have an issue after that. So I guess it may be just finding out. And sometimes until a situation happens, you ever see people will swear on their life that these are the rules and regulations and they don't know everything. And then you come to find out only thing you had to do was X, Y, Z. I've seen that happen a lot. And unfortunately, I've seen that even happen in the military. So it does happen where you have someone that's working in the school office and they don't know all the fine details, or that a parent can just provide this from the doctor. Because if you're dealing with a patient that, for example, has cancer, and you do have kids in school with cancer, I mean, do they have to write a note for each, from the doctor for every day they can't make it to school? Do you get what I'm saying? So I don't know, but I'm sorry you're dealing with that.
Yeah. I don't know how to get down.
What you said? I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. I was just gonna say that I think it's crazy. I just learned that 21% of all Americans read underneath a fifth grade level. And then with the school systems, I think if you have the time, I started one of my children out as early prevention at school at 3 years old, just because of a speech delay. And I think as a parent that you have to be really active with these schools, or they don't really care about your kids. Like, I'm just going to call it like it is, because I've taken my son to speech therapist. I've taken him to the best of the best to catch him up, and he wants to play all these sports. And I've told him, like, if you want to do all of this, you have to make good grades. Like, you don't get to play sports and do everything you want to do unless the grades are there. And even with the learning disability, I've caught him up to speed with the educators, but I've damn near had to go and beat the door down to get them to, like, pay attention and actually invest in him. So I think the whole system is rigged and broken to make us dumb. But I think as parents, we have to advocate for our children and step up, because if you don't, they really don't care. And even then, it's almost like you've literally got to beat the door down with some of the educators and be like, look, you're going to help me and I'm going to do whatever needs to be done. But it's just insane, because a lot of them, they have so many kids that it's hard for them to even get a kid to pay attention whenever they are on the phones all the time. So I just think this is really good that we're, like, talking about it, and I've really enjoyed it. And I just wanted to, say thank you, all the opinions, everybody. Y'all are awesome. Just wanted to throw that out there. Thank you, Jessica.
You're awesome. Thank you. But no, I think this, and Great Vibes, thank you for allowing us to speak on this today, because I know that a lot of people are worried, and I think that people have gotten to the point where they're not talking about it because they're afraid of being attacked, because of their thought process or speaking what's with them and their family are currently experiencing. So I do appreciate you holding this space.
There was one more thing that I wanted to say that was off topic, but y'all can do your own research on it. What I found crazy was that some of the actual music labels push the hidden agenda and promote violence and the mentality of, being in the streets, because they own some of the prisons and they benefit from some of the people, like, pushing this subliminal message so that way they can keep the prisons full. A lot of people say it's a conspiracy theory, but I have found some evidence to support it. But, just do your research. Don't listen to that music, y'all. That's all.
No, it's a conspiracy fact.
I was about to say, yeah, it's true. Infinite Mind, did we have this conversation a couple months ago up here
Uh-huh.
about the frequencies? It's not just about the words. See, a lot of the parents be like, "Oh my God, the verbiage." No, baby, it's not just the word. It's called the frequency in the music.
Mm-hmm.
It's the frequency that's in the music. You have to look at who was responsible for that too. You'll notice that a lot of the artists that had very healing frequencies, something wound up happening to those artists. You got, and it's, I don't believe in coincidence, especially when it's too many lining up. So go look at the frequencies. There's something considered healing frequencies, and then you have frequencies that will send people into a state of chaos. And we have to pay attention to that. And here's the thing. Us even talking about this, they know that the average person will say that's BS, that's conspiracy theory. I need you guys to remember where the term came from. And if not, you want to enlighten them and tell them where that was, that phrase was coined at?
Yeah, actually, it came about during that era, that whole era of the unaliving of President Kennedy. It came during that time period. It was basically it was that three-letter agency begins with a C, ends with an A. It was basically a propaganda terminology that they came up with because when questions were coming about concerning that whole incident. And then you had, of course, the subsequent unaliving of his brother. So during that whole time period, they basically came up with that term, conspiracy theory, to basically discredit anyone who found their way onto the path of uncovering the truth about what was going on, as well as anything else that was going on. They basically came up with that as a term to use to discredit anybody, such as people like us in this day and time that would be onto the truth. Same thing as like the modern day version of that would be like fact checkers. You know what I'm saying? But that was the origin of that term, conspiracy theory.
No, I believe that because I've heard Kanye talk about it, like before people said he was crazy. He would try to educate people about it. And if you go and look at Nikola Tesla and, some of the great American scientists and people from the jump that were very smart and educated, paving the way, they all talk about energy and frequencies and how vibrational just the frequencies you listen to, they say it can heal your body. Like that's insane, but they don't push that either. They should teach us spiritual school, but they say according to astrology that the year 2027 is the year that you will see spiritual teachers rise up, and that the people that are spiritual healers and teachers, that is going to be their year. It's kind of insane. One of my friends studies it, and he always tells me, like, keep being a role model, keep doing the right thing. Like, everybody's time is coming. So you're going to see a lot of these spiritual teachers and healers rising up very soon from one of my top astrologers that studies all the esoterics and hidden knowledge of the universe. It's kind of all falling into place. I think that the destruction of America needs to happen. So everything that's happening, it seems like it's just history. That's just my opinion.
Hey, Vibes, I wanted to I got to get ready to jump off, but I wanted to, before I do, right, I wanted to connect some dots, right, because I think that's important, and to put things in perspective. Also in relation to how you started this life. You started this conversation in a very eloquent fashion, and I like how you started it off by breaking down the roots of the education system, and as far as who funded it, that was very important for context. But I wanted to connect some dots to make it make sense for some people. Is that they were very strategic in their planning with all this. And again, the department, like you said, the Department of Education has its hands in a great many things. Many areas of our lives, put it that way. But the reason they did it that way is because, like, a lot of times when this subject will come up, you'll have people, and I saw somebody earlier in the comments making a statement that parents need to start being parents. But the problem that I have with that's a very blanketed type of statement that doesn't take into account the what's really going on, because when you say that, you're not considering what has happened and how it has happened. They were strategic in setting things up this way because, all right, look at it this way: if a body is a nation, right? The cells, like if you want to, in a body, in your body, the cell, your body's made up of cells, right? Your body's made up of cells. So the best way to take down a body is to manufacture something that targets the cells, if that was someone's agenda, right? Hint, hint. If you wanted to take down bodies, you would manufacture something that targeted the cells of the body. Okay. So same thing applies, right? So if the nation is the body, then a body is made up of states. States are made up of cities and counties, and which are made up of communities, and which are made up of individual family units. So the individual family units would be this equivalent to the cells of the body, which is the nation. You get it? So what they did is they set into motion an agenda, a very elaborate agenda, to attack the cells of the body, which would be, again, the family units, right? So that's how you destabilize a nation from within. So when people talk about New World Order, that was the plan. It was the gradual and systematic destabilization of this nation from within. And what we're talking about today played a very pivotal role in that. And that's important. It's important for people to grasp that concept. So when people say parents need to step up and be parents, well, the reality of it is most parents today, even single parents, who love their children dearly, it's very difficult logistically for them to be the type of parent that they desire to be, because they're caught up in survival. They're in survival mode. They're working one, sometimes two jobs, all hours of the day. They're absent in their children's lives, not by choice, but because that's just by design. They're trying to keep afloat. They're in survival mode. They're stressed out. They're trying to keep their heads above water. You see what I'm saying? So, but that was by design. That's by design. That they caused that. What I'm saying is that didn't happen by accident. That was by design. They caused that to happen. Because I like what you said earlier, Vibe. You kept saying over and over. You said that when the economy changes, the family dynamic changes. That's very important to know, because that's why they tinker with the economy so much. They're always tinkering with the economy. It's to keep you stressed out about survival, about how you're going to survive, how you're going to take care of your family, right? So if the parents naturally, if they're busy all the time, being mindful of that, then children are being neglected. It's by design that daycare wasn't, and aftercare wasn't always a thing, but that came into play when they started restructuring the economy, which made that necessary, because parents were no longer, mothers were no longer in the home when their children got home in the afternoon from school. Now mothers are in the workforce. See, but that was by design. So these are the things that we have to take into account when we, for people that make statements like that, well, parents need to step up and start parenting. Well, it isn't quite black and white. It isn't that easy for parents to be the type of parents that they want to be for their children, because these are the elements that they're fighting against. But yeah, so you see where I'm going with this? These are the elements that they're fighting against. They're literally fighting against the system. This is what we're dealing with. This is the current state of affairs. Hey Bob, you can drop me down. Thank you again. Take care, everybody.
Oh, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. You can drop me back down. I'm just listening. But enjoying the live. Thank you so much. So education and informing.
Great vibes. I saw you say 3 minutes in the comments. Did you have to go? Are you ending the live? Okay.
GV, hit me up on Discord at some point later too. Ain't gotta be now, but like when you have time.
Have a good day, all.
All right, love y'all.